of solidarity with driver Bubba Wallace before the race. Drivers and pit crews from every team marching along with Wallace's number 43 car. The powerful moment necessary after a noose was found by a team member hanging inside Wallace's garage stall at the track on Sunday. Wallace, the circuit's only full-time black driver, emerging overcome, embracing NASCAR legend and team owner Richard Petty, who called the incident a filthy act. The drivers then bowing their heads and
the deal that happened yesterday, sorry I'm not wearing my mask, but I wanted to show whoever it was that you're not going to take away my smile, and I'm going to keep on going. I've been a part of this sport for a really long time. Still kind of a rookie, starting to figure this plate stuff out. We had a good race going today in our Victory Junction Chevrolet, but man, I know I should have won that damn race. We ran out of gas. Just the stars didn't align for us completely, but all in all, we won today. The pre-race deal. The pre-race deal was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to witness in my life. From all the supporters, from drivers, from crew members, everybody here, the badass fan base. Thank you guys for coming out here.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for watching this edition of Viral. I'm your host, as always, Hendrix here, as we talk about Bubba Wallace, NASCAR's new folk hero. First thing first, joining the conversation using the hashtag Viral here on Connect. And thank you all for watching. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. So we talk about Bubba Wallace, NASCAR's new folk hero. But the first one of the first African American drivers, Bubba Wallace, is making changes. And he wants to see that the NASCAR organization bans the Confederate flag. Well, Bubba Wallace got his wish when he lobbied for the flag being abolished. This.
Bubba Wallace taking a stand, the NASCAR star and league's only African-American driver at its highest level, advocating for social change in the sport, especially banning the Confederate flags at races. Wallace says that he wants to speak up for the people made uncomfortable by that flag. And joining me this morning is Bubba Wallace. Bubba, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So I'm excited to talk to you. First, let's talk about the flag, because NASCAR in the past they didn't really like the flag out there. Now they're banning it, and you say that that's something that needed to be done a long time ago.
Yeah, for sure. I think we tried to implement that a few years ago, and that's when I was kind of getting into the sport and kind of finding my way, getting my feet underneath me. But now, with everything that's going on in the world, and conversation start off with how people will see the flag and it makes them feel a certain type of way, and it's just like let's simply just get it away from sporting events. And I just read an article from a good friend of mine, Marty Smith, ESPN, who said to the fans that are upset by this move, we're not closing a door on you, we're opening a door to many others. And I thought that was very powerful. So and that's exactly right.
You've been very vocal. You've been a strong voice for NASCAR. Are you getting a lot of support from other drivers?
Yeah, for sure. I've seen a couple articles where drivers are speaking up and being more vocal and using their platforms. So that's great. I think the more awareness we can bring to the situation, to the sport, will help change the sport, but not only the sport, but the world as well. So proud of our fellow competitors and colleagues for stepping up and being the brand ambassador that they are destined to be.
It's good to hear. And I know it's such a family affair, NASCAR is in general. I want to talk about this weekend. There's going to be fans in the stands, which is, I think this is huge. Are you excited? It's going to be military members, I know. But, are you ready?
Yeah, it's going to be a new change for us, somewhat getting back to normal, which it's funny, quarantine and everything seems normal now. So it's going to be a little while to get used to, but it's good to have fans back and start to kind of roll them in slow. Still take the precautionary measures for COVID-19 and make sure we get everybody in safely and enjoy the race safely as well. So we're excited about it. Homestead is probably one of every driver's favorite tracks for sure. It's a lot of fun. It's hot and slick. So it'll be a blast. So kudos to NASCAR for slowly getting the ball rolling on getting fans back into it and being like the lead sport for this.
And it's and for Fox especially, it's exciting for us. Real quick before I let you go, what is it like doing two races a week? What's that like?
My back's still sore, so we're still getting used to it quickly. It's good though. All we know is racing. When I was a kid, I was racing 5 times throughout the week, so nothing new. But for NASCAR it is, and I think that's going to see some future changes for sure to our schedule to have some midweek races. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, Bubba, it's again, NASCAR really led the way as far as getting the sport back up and running. It was just great to see something, a live sporting event in any capacity. So it's been great to watch you. And thank you so much for being here this morning, Bubba Wallace. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good luck this weekend, and take some Advil for your back. Be sure to tune into NASCAR's Dixie Vodka 400 race. That's this Sunday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox.
Wallace making a lot of rounds this week, even media rounds. Wallace spoke to all the morning shows about this historical change on something that he lobbied to do with this.
And joining us now live from Concord, North Carolina is NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace. And Bubba, thank you so much for getting up. You had a busy night. You were back at work, back on the track last night. Just tell us your emotions and being behind the wheel last night in Martinsville.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Robin. It's definitely an early morning and not much sleep going on, but a lot going on the last couple of weeks. And last night was really special. I thought, I sincerely thought that was the biggest race of my career, just with everything going on in the world and how we were standing up and making a positive message out of it, trying to create a new image for the sport of NASCAR, the sport that has been really good to me for the last, I don't know, 6-7 years of how long I've been a part of it. So it's been quite the journey. We had a really good run last night at Martinsville, my favorite racetrack. So had some good speed early on, and we kind of got behind there later in the race, but rallied back to a 11th place finish. So just really proud of the efforts of NASCAR for stepping up and wanting to be a part of change. And I know it's tough. They're in a tough situation. They've been in a tough situation for a really long time now, but I think this is the most crucial time, and the time is of the essence right now in the world that we're in the nation that we're in, to create change and create unity and come together and really try to be more inclusive.
And I hope people take the time to see the video that you posted with your fellow drivers, a lot of your fellow drivers. It's very, very powerful, Bubba, showing their support, expressing their support for racial justice. What has been their reaction to NASCAR's latest ruling about the Confederate flag?
Yeah, I was actually, I don't know what time I went to bed, I think 2:30 this morning, just kind of catching up on everything on social media. Reading some drivers' comments about it and showing their support behind the sport and myself. So very gracious to have an elite group of drivers that are willing to stand up for what's right and be able to convey the message as well and push the envelope. So just shows the kind of respect that we have for each other. On the track, maybe not so much, but off the track, we definitely work together and come together as one.
Yeah, it's business when you're behind the wheel and on the track. Absolutely. Like that.
Yes,
and you heard it, you're right, as it should be. And you heard in TJ's report, a lot of fans are not happy about this at all. Some are claiming they will not return to NASCAR. They will not attend a race. What is your message to them?
We live in a very selfish world. I'm selfish myself, and this is so much more than about ourselves. This is about our brothers and our sisters that are suffering through a lot. And you look at the Confederate flag and how, yes, it may mean heritage to most, but to a group that is in a lot of pain right now, the African American community is in a lot of pain. That's a symbol of hate, and it brings back so many bad memories, signs of oppression from way back when, and there's no good that comes with that flag, and that's the message we're kind of trying to get across. It's not about it's about a group of people that we are trying to bring together and make this world a better place for.
And as the only full-time Black driver in NASCAR, I want to know personally for you, these last couple of weeks, seeing so many people of so many different races taking to the streets and protesting for racial justice. What has that been like for you personally, Bubba?
Yeah, I'm just, we're in a tough time because there's a lot of destruction going on and just a lot of chaos. And while I'm all for peaceful protesting, our voices just haven't been heard. And I think up until this point, things are really starting to change. The time frame on that, I have no idea, but I think we got to continue to stay out there and fight for what's right. So I'm proud of the community coming together and from all backgrounds of coming together and trying to change the image of America and allow and make Black Lives Matter. And that's what's special. So it takes all of us, it takes all lives to come together and create change, and create unity, love and compassion for everybody, and understanding the problem to help understand that Black Lives Matter too.
Compassion, love, understanding. We saw that front and center on the hood of that car of yours, number 43. Hey, Bubba, thank you very much for what you're doing and for getting up and joining us this morning, and all the best to you going forward. You take care.
Absolutely.
Be safe.
I appreciate it.
Car now, as we mentioned earlier, the sport is taking a stand, banning the display of Confederate flags at all events. That flag had been a bit of a fixture in NASCAR's Southern culture for decades. And last night, Bubba Wallace, the only full-time African-American driver and the one who called for that change, took to the track at Martinsville Speedway in a stock car emblazoned with the hashtag Black Lives Matter before the race. Bubba talked about that big moment.
Probably the biggest race of my career right here. I'm excited about it. I'm ready for it. I haven't really slept much thinking about this race, just everything that's going into it, everything that's going on in the world, trying to race to change the world here.
Bubba Wallace joins us this morning. Good to see you again, Bubba. Thanks for your time. So
Absolutely. Good morning.
You called for the flag to be banned on Monday. NASCAR bans the flag on Wednesday. Were you surprised at all by the speed with which NASCAR moved? And what does it say to you about the moment that we're in that they did it so fast?
I wouldn't say surprised, though. We had started having those conversations starting last week, talking to Steve Phelps, the president of NASCAR, being very vocal with him. And he's a great friend of mine. And I told him that. That's how I started off the message. I was like, we're friends here. Don't let me cross the line. And if I do, we gotta work together to get through it. But we have got to get rid of this flag. I've seen too many comments and too many stories from fans or first-time fans that had come to a race in the years past, and the first thing they say is, "I seen the Confederate flag flying, and it made me feel uncomfortable." And so it's just like, we shouldn't have anybody feeling uncomfortable. We should all, it's not a race thing. It's about walking into an event and feeling uncomfortable. That's it. If you felt uncomfortable, you would want change. And so I'm speaking up for the people that show up to the racetrack and feel that type of way. And so it's a lot of kudos to NASCAR. Hats off to everybody involved for making this happen and pushing the envelope, pushing the message across that we want change. It starts with us. We have to start from basically the roots and go from ground up and really implement what we're trying to say in our message.
For folks not familiar with the sport, it is a sport that is steeped in Southern culture. Got its start because guys were running liquor, so they had to outfit their cars to make them faster to get away from the cops. The flag, the races that I've been to as a fan and as a journalist, that flag, it's everywhere. It's on shirts. It's in the infield. How is the sport going to enforce this ban? Are you at all concerned that it's going to be a ban in name only?
No, I'm pretty sure that we'll take really strict measures to not allow this to happen. And if it doesn't, then there'll be another conversation that I will have. So not sure exactly NASCAR's planning on this. So I know fans are starting to be allowed to come back here in a couple weeks. So it'll be interesting to see. There's a lot of things unfolding for our sport and for our nation, really, for the world, and we're all kind of piecing it together day by day. So we'll just continue to push on and fight for what's right.
It should be noted that the lion's share of your fellow drivers seem to be on board with this, but there is the part-time truck series driver that came out overnight, said he is going to retire at the end of the season because of NASCAR's decision. What would you say to him if he's watching or listening? What would you say to other folks who have said for years now that the flag it's about heritage, not hate?
Yeah, I seen that comment, and I was kind of baffled by it, honestly. And I think he just solidified his career and no longer being a part of NASCAR. I would encourage NASCAR to really step up and look at that if it ever tries to reinstate. But yeah, I mean, I've seen a comment where to most it's a sign of heritage, but to a large group of people, it's a sign of hate and oppression and just a lot of negative and bad things that come to mind. And we're not saying that you can't ever fly it at your house. You can do whatever you want. But when it comes to a sporting event where we want all races, everybody to be included, inclusion is what we're trying to accomplish here. We're trying to unity, bring everybody together to enjoy a sporting event, cheer on their favorite driver, not be shy and introverted about or because of they see a Confederate flag flying. That shouldn't. They should be able to live life to the fullest with nothing holding them back. And if the flag's holding them back, then let's just take it down for the sporting event. We're not saying get rid of your life completely.
Bubba, you probably picked up a whole new slew of fans yesterday. You realize that, right?
Absolutely. I told everybody we had a lot of first-time watchers last night, which was super incredible. A lot from the African-American community that would never give NASCAR a chance. There's so many comments I read. They were all shocked at how NASCAR's approach to everything has really opened their eyes. And people asking, I think my favorite one was Alvin Kamara, former Tennessee Vols, plays for the Saints. He's asking when the next race was, and so he was tuning in. He was giving a race by race or a lap by lap updates. It was incredible. Everybody was tuned in last night, so it was a big watching party, and hopefully that's for the future as well. We encourage all backgrounds, all races to come and enjoy our crazy sport. It's action-packed from the drop of the green flag to the drop of the checker flag.
Bubba Wallace, trailblazer in NASCAR. Good to see you again, buddy. Thank you, Bubba. Good luck.
Thank you, brother. Have a good day.
Follower of yours and mine, Bubba. Tim's question, which I thought was a great one. In all seriousness, can you guys offer some advice to people on how to start these difficult conversations? A lot of folks just don't know how to start them conversations. And I think that we just not only talking about conversations about race and between the black and the white communities, but also to our children. How do you start those conversations? And, you know, I think just being upfront and honest and sharing with your children your own values and what you would hope that they would choose to do in any situation is the way to go there. But let's go back to Tim's question of how do you start that difficult conversation about racism? How do I start that conversation? How does someone else that wants to reach out to you, Bubba, or wants to talk to you about that, start that conversation?
Well, I think it's simply as, hey, man, what are your thoughts on what's going on in the world? And they offer their advice. And I think that's where it kind of snowballs from there. Or not advice, their opinion.
Yeah.
If I'm tired of hearing about it, I don't want to talk about it, then that's the door just opened up for you to be like, why not? Why not? Why don't you want to talk about it? Are you tired of it? Why are you tired of it? Or if they're all, for it, then it's like, okay, well, let's come together and start this gospel of how we can get more people involved to help help push the narrative along. But it's all about you have to be the man in charge of being like, hey man, I just want to sit here and talk about today's world and society and how it's going. What is your thoughts? And you get that direction right there. You have two ways to go. You have a way to educate them, or a way to both y'all listen to each other and continue to grow together.
Ooh, that's so interesting. And about Tim's question, Dale, is one thing, how do we start the conversation? It's another thing to have it publicly. The conversation publicly is a completely different conversation. And so we're having a public conversation of sorts. It's just distant here. But how do you, speaking about it publicly and having that's what's fascinating about you and Ty Dillon.
Yeah, that was I literally had just pulled up to RCR. We were running some sim stuff, and he texted me. He said we were talking about the silence in the group chat. Him and I were very vocal about that. And he was like, "What do you think about going on Instagram Live?" And I sat there and I thought about it, and I was like, "Yeah, sure." I mean, I said the race is going on though. I'm not getting a lot of views, but that's besides the fact. And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Let me get home and get some dinner in, and let's do it." That was off the wall, off the cusp, non-scripted. Just he asked what my stories were, and I laid it on the line like I always do. I am 100% raw and real every time. And that's the way it went. And I thought it was powerful. Now I'm not, a guy that is very by the book and by the Bible. And when he brought out the prayer at the end, that was the most amazing thing ever. I thought that was incredible. And the way he was just sitting there and wanting to learn, he wanted to know how to be a better person.
Yeah.
Maybe he had troubles in his past. Who knows? Ty's always been a great guy. But he wanted to be even better than what he was. And there's so much respect into that, because when you think it doesn't bother me, it doesn't affect me at all, but I want to learn about it so I can be better and educate other people, that shows a lot of power, to Ty Dillon. And I appreciate that. I didn't know how long we were going to talk, what we were going to talk about. He just simply said, "I want to hear your stories, what you've gone through." And I was like, all right, sit back, because it hasn't been all good. And like I told you, Dale, my instance there of being told to get out of my car and have it searched. And it's funny on that instance, and I forgot to mention last night, I just got my car cleaned, and I had, I think, a race winning check just cashed. And I had all that money in my car, but we had cleaned it and we had taken it out. So imagine if the money was in there.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, man, those instances. And there's another instance. And the reason I talked to my mom today is I wanted to bring it up. I lost my cousin. I was 8 years old. This was a year before I started racing. I think I was 8. We were at my sister's basketball tournament. Can't remember where. I was running around the gym with all the other brothers and sisters there. And all of a sudden I hear a scream, like the worst scream that you want to hear. Not like somebody scared you scream. Like something bad had just happened. And I look over and I see my mom running out the door. And we had just found out my cousin was shot and killed by a police officer, unarmed. And so it was, I was young. I didn't understand it. We lost a family member. But now seeing everything come full circle, I totally get it now. They had just left, she just told me, they had just left somewhere, football game or something. He was 18. They all went to a gas station here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and playing loud music. There's a whole crowd, hangout spot. After football games, we would go to the McDonald's right here down the street and all hang out, blast music. I had the system in my car, so I was blasting the music, but never thought about, that I was bothering somebody. But the store clerk, who happened to be white, felt threatened that there was more African Americans that something bad was going to happen. So she called the cops. And the police officer had ordered my cousin Sean to put his hands up, and he did. And then that officer walked away, and he went to grab his phone to call his mom because he was scared, and was shot and killed from the other police officer. So, and it's like all because people were having a good time, not bothering somebody, but it somehow people are afraid. Why are you afraid of black people? That's just the thing I don't understand. Like, we're minding our own business. We're having a good time, and somebody's life was taken, and it happened to my family member. And I've never shared that story. I remember in 4th grade, I was crying. I got let out of class for it. But now truly understanding it definitely hurts a lot more now that I can decipher what really went on into it. Said he was reaching for a gun and wasn't. So, that's tough. And, I've dealt with that. That's indirectly, but it's family. And I've dealt with my struggles, directly of getting pulled up at a stoplight, like I talked about last night, and having guns drawn, not pointed at me, but they're out of their holster ready to do something. And that moment, being pulled out in front of and turning on your hazards is a sign that you're slow and I need to go around you. But when it's undercover cops, you can't do that. And when it's tinted windows, they don't know what to expect, so they're ready for anything. So one wrong move, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. And then the comments after, and this is where we can help so many people. It's the comments that they made towards me that pissed me off the most. Can you afford this car? This is a nice car.
Oh, my goodness.
And I said, yes, sir, I can. And what I wanted to say is, yeah, I'll have you one here Monday. I'll have your mama here one on Tuesday. I'll have the rest of your family here on Wednesday, because that's how much money I make. But I didn't. I let it go, because one wrong move, because I'm black, could have had me on the pavement saying I can't breathe. So who knows?
That's the point that I've sort of learned, is that, there's a lot of people that would respond to what you just said as, bad things happen to everybody in the course of a lifetime. Everybody's going to be mistreated. Everybody's going to do that. And there's truth to that, for sure. There is truth to that. We all have been mistreated at one time or another.
Yep.
But we haven't feared for our lives.
Nope.
Like, there are things that happen that you shouldn't have to wonder about getting shot. And there's the difference, right? I get pulled over. It's happened a bunch. Not once did it even enter my mind the things that have to enter your mind and other people's minds that have to deal with this. That's their reality. Your reality and my reality are not the same realities.
Nope.
For better or worse, it's not the same. And so that's where I think we lack empathy. But there is a big distinction in being mistreated and fearing for your life.
Yep.
And I think that, a lot of the expression that we see going on around our country right now, it gets to that point when you fear for your life. Don't you agree?
Yep. I agree 100%. You said it right. There's a big gap in between being mistreated and fearing for your life.
I think we're seeing fears for life. And fortunately, you're seeing a lot of other people joining that, people that don't necessarily fear for their lives, people that are privileged, people that do. They're realizing the problem with that. It's just a problem. We shouldn't be this fearful. And if you are, well, let's not nitpick why you are. Let's listen and say, okay, how can we fix the fear, the cause of the fear?
Goes back to listening.
Saw right there, Bubba Wallace sparked with change, sparked with emotion that the flag had to go. Well, Bubba Wallace wasn't the only one.
We move on now to that powerful show of solidarity today after a noose was found hanging in the garage of Bubba Wallace, NASCAR's only full-time driver who was black. Today, drivers and pit crew members escorted Bubba Wallace and his car to the front of the grid. Wallace had strongly pushed NASCAR to take that step to ban Confederate flags at races, and they did. Tonight, the FBI is now investigating, and Wallace now has extra security. Here's Victor Akendo.
Tonight at Talladega Superspeedway, an incredible show of solidarity with driver Bubba Wallace before the race. Drivers and pit crews from every team marching along with Wallace's number 43 car. The powerful moment necessary after a noose was found by a team member hanging inside Wallace's garage stall at the track on Sunday. Wallace, the circuit's only full-time black driver, emerging overcome, embracing NASCAR legend and team owner Richard Petty, who called the incident a filthy act. The drivers then bowing their heads in prayer.
And as we stand together against racism, by your Holy Spirit, guide us to true liberty and justice for all.
Team officials say the noose was found by a member of Wallace's team who immediately reported it. The FBI and the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division now investigating along with NASCAR.
You want to make sure that Bubba is safe, and we have stepped up security.
Wallace, undaunted, writing, "As my mother told me today, they are just trying to scare you. This will not break me. I will not give in, nor will I back down." The hate-fueled attack coming about 2 weeks after the Confederate flag was banned from all NASCAR events.
There's no good that comes with that flag. And that's the message we're kind of trying to get across.
That charge for change boldly led by Wallace, who emblazoned his car with the Black Lives Matter hashtag. Sunday's race was postponed due to bad weather. 5,000 fans were welcome. The Confederate flag was not, but plenty of them outside, and even one flying above, those words reading "Defund NASCAR." Tonight, these words on the infield: "I stand with Bubba." NASCAR officials have said that the garage did have surveillance cameras, and we also know that there was only a limited amount of people that would have that kind of access because of the coronavirus. NASCAR's president says he wants the people responsible banned for life.
The entire garage area,
in a sign of solidarity,
has rallied around Bubba Wallace
and a rejection of racism. NASCAR drivers walk alongside Bubba Wallace's car, number 43, overcome with emotion.
A despicable act by someone.
Less than 24 hours earlier, a noose was discovered in Wallace's garage stall, prompting this response: "I will not give in, nor will I back down. I will continue to proudly stand for what I believe in." NASCAR confirming to NBC News that no fans have access to that garage, only a few essential personnel. The organization vowing to investigate and declaring, "We are angry and outraged and cannot state strongly enough how seriously we take this heinous act." The FBI's already on scene tonight, with the U.S. Attorney in Birmingham investigating possible violations of federal law.
Let's go shut these haters up.
Today's race, the first opportunity for general admission fans to get back on the track, and also the first test of a Confederate flag ban, championed by Wallace and unveiled by NASCAR June 10th.
It's not a race thing. It's about walking into an event and feeling uncomfortable. That's it.
Fans on their personal property failing that test. Confederate flags flap next to pop-up gift shops and on top of Winnebagos. Wallace's fellow drivers voicing zero tolerance for any of it.
I cannot believe the hate that someone can have in their heart.
Tonight, drivers banding together. Bubba Wallace standing anywhere but alone.
NASCAR's president Steve Phelps said he was the first person to talk to Bubba Wallace about the noose. He said it was a difficult moment for him. It was a difficult moment for me. He also said whoever is responsible for this act will be banned from the sport for life.
Thanks, Vince. And here's Bubba Wallace walking out to salute the fans. Jamie?
And Bubba got out of his car, grabbed a drink of water, and he sees some supporters up here in the stands. Of course, we got 5,000 fans here today.